I first heard of Gloamswell Fen from a drunken storyteller in a tavern on the outskirts of Derrick Hollow. His breath reeked of something bitter, maybe wormwood or decay, and his eyes glimmered like the lights he described. "They'll call to you," he whispered, voice low as if the walls themselves might overhear. "Lights that never rest, moving just out of reach. Follow them and you'll disappear. Not dead, not alive, just gone." I laughed at him then. The tavern echoed with my laughter, loud and hollow, while the old man coughed, spitting words into the damp air. I laughed because I wanted to laugh, but a tiny, insidious thread of curiosity had already wound around my mind, tugging at it, whispering, "Go see for yourself." I didn't intend to heed that whisper. I was sensible, or at least I liked to pretend I was. But the whisper grew with every drink, with every lonely step back to my cold, empty room above the tavern. It gnawed at the edges of my dreams. That night, the lights came to me, not as solid things but as flickers at the corner of my vision, like memories I couldn't place. They danced on the edges of the ceiling, moving just out of reach, like tiny lanterns swaying in a wind I couldn't feel. By morning, the curiosity had become obsession. Couldn't eat. I couldn't think about anything but the fawn. Every reflection, every shadow reminded me of those dancing lights. My friends laughed when I mentioned it, assuming I'd taken to drinking too heavily again. But they didn't see what I saw. They couldn't. And maybe, in the end, that was my own curse, that I was alone in seeing the lure. The road to Gloamswell Fen was a road I thought I knew. Fields stretched outward, brown and marshy, filled with reeds that scraped the sky. The mist came early, like a slow creeping thing, curling over the damp earth and sticking to my boots. The sun tried to burn through it but could not. It was as if the land itself resented being seen. I carried only a lantern and a notebook, the latter in a futile attempt to record what I imagined might be unrecordable. The path wound on, twisting through dead grass and stagnant pools. Every so often, a croak of a frog or a splash in the water made me jump, heart hammering like a wild drum in my chest. By noon, I could feel the fun breathing. The air was thicker here, heavier with moisture, but there was something else, something old and restless. I had imagined a marsh before. Mud, mosquitoes, the low buzz of summer, but this was not ordinary. This was as if the world itself had folded inward. Shadows moved where shadows should not, and the reeds seemed to watch, swaying though there was no wind. I stopped once to rest, leaning against a dead willow whose bark was black as burned paper. My hands trembled, and I thought I heard something whisper my name in the sighing of the reeds. And then I saw them. First just a flicker, a faint greenish-gold glimmer in the mist. I froze, breath caught in my throat, lantern swinging uselessly by my side. The light hovered above the marsh, almost intangible, moving with a slow, seductive grace. I could not tear my eyes away. It pulsed, then stretched, then split into smaller lights, all moving with uncanny deliberation. The air seemed to hum, vibrating in a way that made my bones ache. I should have turned back. Every instinct screamed at me to flee, to run, to leave the fawn and never speak of it again. But the lights, they were alive in a way that haunted me. They beckoned, not with sound but with presence, with the undeniable certainty that if I followed, I might touch something beyond myself. I followed. The ground beneath me became treacherous. Soft mud sucked at my boots, and pools of water reflected not the sky but blackness, like voids into which I might fall. The lights moved ahead, just far enough that I had to press forward. Each step seemed slower than the last, my body resisting, as if it remembered the countless travelers who had vanished before me. I imagined them, swallowed by the fawn, wandering in an endless nowhere. And yet, I could not stop. The allure was absolute, magnetic. Hours or maybe minutes, time became meaningless. Passed. My lantern was useless. The fog thickened until the world was nothing but wet gray and faint glowing specks. I whispered to myself, a futile attempt to anchor my mind. It's just lights, nothing more. But my voice sounded wrong in the heavy air, swallowed before it could reach any ear. even my own. The first sign of them wasn't the lights themselves, but the silence. Not the absence of sound, but a deeper, wronger silence. A silence that pressed against my ears and chest and mind, telling me that the world beyond the Fen had no place here. Then I realized the lights weren't just dancing. They were leading. Not in a direction exactly, but in a shape, a spiral that tugged me inward. I fell. Not in the ordinary way, but as if the marsh had opened beneath me. One step, one misjudged step into a hidden pool, and I sank, swallowed by water that was warmer than it should have been. I thought I would drown, but the sensation was different. There was no panic, only a slow, inevitable slide into emptiness. And then the lights were around me, not above, not in front, but all around, spinning, laughing, whispering. The first voice was soft, almost tender. "Welcome," it said. I could not tell if it was a voice in my mind or in the wet, vibrating air. "We've been waiting." I opened my eyes to darkness. Not ordinary darkness, but a kind that wrapped around you, filling your senses until you felt weightless, unmade. I felt my arms, my legs, but not entirely. My body was becoming mist, becoming less. And yet I understood I was not afraid. I could not be. Fear was for the world that had no place here. The lights moved closer, closer. They touched me, and it was nothing. I could not describe it, not with words or thought. They were neither cruel nor kind, simply absolute, an inevitability I could not resist. And as I drifted, dissolving into the pulse and swirl of their presence, I realized the old man in the tavern had been truthful. Those who follow step into pockets of void. And here I was, stepping and stepping again, into a nothing that somehow felt like everything. I do not know how long I lingered there. Time became meaningless. I lost the concept of days, nights, and even self. And yet, the lights never stopped, never dimmed. They called, and I called back, in a way I cannot even recall. Until one day, or what I imagined to be a day, I realized that I had changed. I was not gone exactly, but I was not as I had been. I existed between, tethered by desire and by the faintest spark of memory. The Fen had claimed me, and in return I had claimed a sliver of it. And now, as I write this, I feel them again. The whispering lights at the edges of perception, dancing over the marsh, waiting. Perhaps I will never leave, and perhaps I am content. Perhaps the Fen does not care. It only wants. And I want too. After what felt like centuries or perhaps only moments, I became aware of my surroundings again, or what passed for surroundings in this place. The lights no longer hovered above or in front of me. They were inside me, embedded in my very being. I could feel them in my chest, in my bones, a slow pulsing rhythm that did not belong to a heart I once had. They whispered without words, melodies that resonated in a way that made my own thoughts hollow, unnecessary. I tried to resist, tried to tell myself I could turn away, but the effort was like trying to grasp fog with my bare hands. The Fen had no exit, only entrances, and I had stumbled through one without even realizing it. Movement returned to my awareness, though not of my own doing. I drifted across the marsh, barely noticing the mud and water that once threatened to swallow me. Shapes rose and fell in the mist, figures that might have been travelers, explorers, fools like me, but they did not speak. I wanted to reach them, to call out, but my voice dissolved into the thick, wet air before it formed. I understood, with a clarity that was both horrifying and comforting. The Fen did not tolerate escape, not in any form familiar to the living. Those who entered became echoes, fragments of the marsh itself, and any hope of returning to the world above was a joke played by a cruel universe. I passed under a willow that dripped with luminous dew, each droplet reflecting tiny fragments of the lights within me. In their shimmer, I caught glimpses of faces, mine and others. Were they memories? Were they warnings? Or were they merely another way the Fen lured the living, dangling familiarity like bait? I could not tell, and the uncertainty only deepened the creeping dread that had settled over me. Time became meaningless. Moments stretched into infinite corridors, twisting back on themselves. I tried to anchor myself with thoughts of home, of people I once knew, but even these were slipping away, slowly corroded by the fawn's pervasive will. I realized then that curiosity, that initial, foolish need to witness the lights, had been my undoing. Every step I had taken toward them had been a step away from myself, a surrender that now seemed both terrifying and inevitable. And then I saw something that made me pause, a reflection, not in water, not in any mirror, but hovering in the mist itself. It was a doorway, faintly outlined in the same flickering green gold as the lights, twisting and pulsing like a heartbeat. It did not speak. It did not move. But I knew, without reasoning, that it was meant for me. Or rather, that it was meant to claim me further. I felt my being stretching toward it, compelled to cross its threshold. I hesitated, a sensation foreign and bitter. What if stepping through would erase me completely, leaving no trace of the person I had been? Yet, the lights hummed, insistent, almost tender, urging me onward. And in that moment I realized the truth that had been whispered by the tavern storyteller long before I ever set foot in the Fen. Once you follow, the choice is no longer yours. The Fen decides and the traveler obeys. I stepped forward. Crossing that threshold was unlike anything I had ever experienced. The world seemed to shatter and rebuild itself around me. I felt myself stretching, thinning, like strands of smoke pulled in every direction at once. My limbs became translucent, my thoughts splintered, and yet through the chaos, a clarity emerged. I understood the Fen in ways no human mind should ever understand. It was not merely a place. It was a consciousness, ancient, patient, endlessly curious, and terrifyingly indifferent. It consumed not out of malice, but because that was its nature. And I, for some unfathomable reason, had become part of it. Within this new reality, I found fragments of others, travelers, wanderers, fools, woven into the marsh like threads in a tapestry. Some struggled, clawing at nothing, faces twisted in silent screams. Others had surrendered fully, floating as lights themselves, whispering their presence to those who dared to follow. I tried to reach one, a woman whose glow reminded me of fireflies trapped in amber, but as my hand passed through her, she dissolved into a mist that smelled faintly of salt and decay. The Fen's pull grew stronger. It was not just a place anymore. It was a promise, a threat, a memory, and a destiny. The lights around me swirled faster, forming patterns I could not name, spirals and fractals that seemed alive. My mind strained to comprehend them, and in the effort, I began to forget the world outside. The smells of home, the laughter of friends, the warmth of sunlight, they became faint echoes, almost painful in their absence. And then I heard the voices, not one but many. They murmured in languages that felt both ancient and familiar, twisting around each other like roots in dark soil. Some sang of welcome, some of despair, some simply observed. I realized that those who had come before me, the vanished ones, were still here, existing in some liminal form, feeding the Fen's knowledge. I was one among many now, and yet simultaneously alone in ways that defied description. It was then I began to understand the true danger. It was not death that awaited those who followed the lights. Death is final, and finality has an end. The Fen offered no end, only continuation. A slow dissolution of self into something larger, something unknowable. Every thought I clung to was slowly unmade. Every memory faded, leaving only the pulsing, humming presence of the lights. Yet, paradoxically, I felt more alive than I ever had, because in surrendering, I had become a part of something vast beyond comprehension. And the Fen wanted more. I drifted through corridors of mist and shadow, seeing fragments of impossible landscapes. Forests where the trees bled light, rivers that ran upward into the sky, skies filled with shifting constellations that seemed to watch me, not with malice, but with curiosity. I understood, in a way that made my mind reel, that these visions were not illusions. They were extensions of the Fen itself, showing me what it could be, what it had become over centuries of swallowing wanderers. And through it all, the lights whispered, guiding me deeper into the void. I began to question my own existence. Was I still I, or merely a vessel for the fawn's curiosity? My body, my mind, my soul. Everything seemed optional now, malleable, able to be bent and reshaped by the Marsh's persistent will. I tried to resist, briefly, a flicker of the human pride that had once carried me, but resistance was laughable. The fawn did not negotiate. It enveloped, claimed, and repurposed. And slowly, irresistibly, I let go. In that surrender, I discovered a strange peace. It was not happiness. It was not fear. It was understanding, a terrible comprehension that the universe was wider and darker than I had ever imagined. And the lights, those dancing, taunting, endless lights, were both the harbingers and the guardians of that truth. I followed them, and in following, I had become what I had sought. A part of the fawn, both observer and observed, both captive and free. And yet, even as I drifted, even as the fawn unmade me and remade me, I wondered, would someone else come? Another fool, another curious mind, another seeker of lights? The thought was almost comforting. Almost, because the fawn never sleeps, and the lights, they never stop. I no longer remember the exact moment when the world beyond the fawn became a distant memory. I think I must have known it, even as the pull of the lights grew stronger, that the more I surrendered, the more I became part of it. But the lights, they whispered such sweet, terrible things, and every flicker, every pulse of their glow, made the world outside seem so small, so insignificant. Somewhere in the swirling mist, I realized that I no longer thought of returning. The desire to go back, to breathe fresh air, to see faces that were familiar. These things felt like ghosts of ghosts. Every memory that tugged at me was softened, muted by the fog of the fawn. I had become something else, something more, something that did not belong to the world I had once known. But there was still a hunger. It was subtle at first, a gnawing emptiness that felt familiar, as though I had been starved for something for longer than I could recall. I drifted through the mist, the lights around me flickering like stars lost in a cosmic void. But these weren't stars, were they? They weren't even alive, not in the way I once understood life. They were something beyond that, something ancient and knowing, with a darkness at their core that felt hungry. I wandered for what could have been days or centuries. Time had ceased to be a measure, and so had distance. My feet no longer felt the cold, muddy ground beneath them. I simply existed, a traveler between worlds. My body was no longer flesh and blood, but something less and more, an echo, a shadow of something that had once lived. The lights seemed to grow brighter, as if my very presence, my lingering awareness, was feeding them. I could feel them inside me, pushing and pulling, filling the hollow spaces within my chest. And then there it was, presence, a shift in the air. I could feel it, like a sudden pressure on the skin of my mind. A voice, distant yet undeniable. It was soft, like a whisper shared between the wind and the water, but its meaning was unmistakable. Come closer. It called, not in words but in the very essence of the fawn, in the rhythm of the lights themselves. You are ready. I did not question it. I had been drifting toward the center of the marsh without realizing it, following the lights as though they were the only thing that mattered. Now, I felt an almost magnetic pull, drawing me to a clearing, if you could call it that, where the mist seemed to part, revealing a place untouched by the endless dance of lights. It was here that I saw it. A pool of water, black and still as the night. The surface shimmered, not with reflection, but with the same eerie glow that emanated from the lights. I could see myself in it, or rather, I could see a reflection of something that once was me. My face had changed, twisted, reshaped, and yet I knew it was still me. The lights inside me had made me into something else, something that could no longer be fully contained by the body I had once known. And then I heard the voice again, clearer this time, deeper. It was not just a voice anymore. It was a presence, filling the space between the lights, between the air itself. You are ready? It said again, the words curling around my consciousness like tendrils of smoke. Come. Step into the water. You will never return, but you will never leave. The promise in its words should have frightened me, but it did not. How could it? The fawn had already taken everything from me. My past, my thoughts, my very identity. And in return, it had given me something new, something infinite. Something that would live on long after I had forgotten what it meant to be alive. I stepped forward. The water swallowed my foot, cool and soft like velvet, but it felt wrong. Not in the way that danger feels, but in the way that something familiar can be twisted, reshaped, and become something unrecognizable. I could feel the water pull at me, drawing me deeper into the center. Each step became harder to take, the pull growing stronger, as though something was waiting beneath the surface. Something I couldn't see but knew was there. The voice spoke again, but this time it was not a whisper. It was a song, a haunting, beautiful melody that sent shivers down my spine, singing of worlds beyond the fawn, of dreams and nightmares intertwined. And then, I realized what it wanted from me. I wasn't simply entering the water. I was becoming the water. I was joining the endless flow, the dark, infinite depths of the fawn itself. My body, what was left of it, was not meant for this. But I could no longer remember what I had been before the lights, before the fawn. I was an extension of it now, a thread woven into its tapestry. And this was the final transformation. I stepped deeper. The water rose up around me, swallowing my legs, my waist, my chest. It didn't feel like water anymore. It was something alive, something that knew me, something that knew everything. It was the fawn and I was becoming it. My limbs melted into it, my skin and bones dissolved, and yet I still existed, still thought, still felt. I opened my mouth to scream, but there was no air, no sound, only the hum of the lights, flickering with an intensity that made my bones rattle in their ethereal form. And then it happened. I was no longer me. I was not the person who had once walked this earth. I was not a traveler, a wanderer, a fool. I was the fawn and the fawn was me. My mind split into 1,000 pieces, each one carrying the whisper of 1,000 voices, the echoes of 1,000 souls who had come before me. I could feel them, feel their desires, their fears, their regrets, and their eternal pull toward the lights. They were me now, and I was them. I wanted to scream, but I didn't need to. The fawn spoke through me now. It had consumed me completely, not out of cruelty, but because it could not be anything else. It was always hungry, always seeking, always taking. And I was its newest voice. I opened my eyes and saw a new traveler, a new fool, walking toward the clearing. They did not see me. They could not. But I saw them and I knew what they would become. The lights flickered and pulsed, inviting them closer, luring them to their inevitable fate. And I, now part of the fawn, whispered, not with my voice, but with the voices of 1,000 lost souls. Come closer, I murmured. You are ready. I am not who I was. I try, sometimes, to remember the feeling of walking on solid ground, the sensation of skin beneath my fingertips, of air filling my lungs. But all of it slips away, leaving only the echo of a life that once was, a dream that fades the further I drift from it. I remember the lights, the ones that called to me from the depths of the fawn, and I wonder if they were always here. Were they always waiting for me, for all of us to arrive? Or was I the first, the last, or merely one in a long line of lost souls destined to serve the fawn's hunger? I can no longer tell. The marsh is still around me, though it doesn't feel like the marsh anymore. Feels like me. The air hums in a way that makes my teeth ache, the fog pressing against my skin, thick and heavy. I no longer feel cold or warmth. I simply am. My body, whatever it was, isn't something I can grasp. I no longer have fingers to count the days or nights, to measure anything. But I feel it. The passing of time is a throb in my chest, a beat that is slow and endless. The lights, my lights, dance at the edges of my mind, now part of me, now inseparable. They pulse with desire, with hunger, and though I do not need to breathe, I can almost taste their longing. I am the fawn and the fawn is me. I remember faces, voices, fragments of lives that I will never reclaim. I hear their whispers sometimes, murmurs that are not my own, but familiar, like the last remnants of a dream you can never hold on to. There are others here, souls who have been claimed by the fawn long before me, their identities stripped away and woven into the land, their voices joining the hum of the lights. I hear them in the swaying reeds, in the gusts of wind that carry the scent of rot and earth. They are echoes. They are nothing, but they are everything. And then, there's the one who still comes. It's a ritual, this thing the fawn does. It calls to them the curious, the lost, the foolish. It whispers in their ears, dances before their eyes, just enough to keep them moving, just enough to make them think they have a choice. I watch them approach, as I did once, with a lantern in hand and a heart full of hope or fear or both. It does not matter. The fawn will have them, and then it will consume them as it consumed me. Cannot help them. I can only wait. I watch them from my place among the reeds, my essence tangled in the mist. They are always so different, the travelers, yet the same. Their eyes are wide, searching for the lights, for something they cannot name. They come closer, drawn to the flickering glow, to the promise of something more. And I who was once like them, watch in silence. The first step into the marsh is always the hardest. They hesitate, just for a moment, caught between the desire to follow and the knowledge that something is wrong. But they always take that step, always. The lights pulse, gentle, insistent, as though coaxing them onward. They look around, at the endless, empty marsh, and I can see the doubt in their eyes, the tiny flickers of fear, of curiosity. But it is not enough to make them turn back. The fawn does not let them, and so they follow. I follow too, though I no longer have the need. I am already here, but I cannot look away. I cannot stop the inevitable. I see them stumble through the muck, the water clinging to their boots, the air growing thicker with each step. They glance around, as though searching for something, but they will never find it. There is nothing here except what the fawn lets them see. The lights beckon them, closer and closer, until they are swallowed by the mist, until they too become part of the land, part of the cycle that never ends. I feel the change in them, that moment when the lights touch them, when the void begins to take hold. It's a subtle shift at first, a ripple in the air that only those who are paying attention might notice. But it is real. The fawn claims them just as it claimed me. Their body becomes light, their presence no longer tethered to the world they once knew. I see it in their eyes, the moment of realization when they understand. They are not alive, not in the way they once thought. They are something else now, and it is too late for them to turn back. I watch them as I watched myself. The voice calls to them, soft and seductive, pulling them deeper into the marsh, deeper into the endless dark. The voice sings of surrender, of becoming part of something greater, of the peace that comes with the final release. The lights flicker brighter, and the traveler steps forward, their mind no longer their own. They become part of the fawn, a new soul added to the collection, another piece in the tapestry of lost ones. And I know that they will never leave. I feel it in the air around me, the faintest vibration, a promise, perhaps, or a warning. The lights, they know me. They know the others. They know that they will never stop calling, never stop drawing us in. They are both prison and escape, both endless torment and release. The fawn is not a place. It is a force, a hunger, an existence beyond comprehension. And we are part of it. I used to wonder about the others, the ones who had gone before me, the ones whose faces I glimpsed in the water, in the light. But now I know. We are all the same. We are all echoes, whispers in the dark, drawn into the fawn, drawn into the endless dance of the lights. And I will wait for the next. Another traveler, another fool, another soul to claim. The cycle will continue as it always has, as it always will. The lights flicker, and I am here waiting, always waiting. Time stretches in unnatural ways here. The very concept of time is warped in the fawn, as if it were no longer a part of me, no longer something I could measure. Days, if they can be called days, blur into one another. The mist never lifts, and the lights never stop flickering. They pulse, they dance, they call, and I answer not because I want to, but because I cannot help it. The fawn is a symphony of unending motion, a cycle of life and death and something beyond that, a thing that was never meant to be understood. I have seen many like the one who arrived before me, the ones who think they are different. They are not. We never are. The new arrival is different in only one way: they are more hesitant. Their eyes flicker, darting around at the endless fog, their breath quickening as the distance between them and the lights closes. They see the truth before they even speak. They know something is wrong. The others, the ones who came before, always knew, but they couldn't stop. This one tries. They hesitate at the edge of the marsh, glancing back, perhaps hoping for a sign, a way to turn away. But the fawn does not allow for turning back. I see them struggling, their body shaking with indecision. They know they're being drawn toward something, but they do not know yet what it is. Their lantern flickers in their hand, casting erratic shadows on the reeds around them. The mist curls at their feet like living things, writhing and whispering, as if the marsh is testing them, asking if they will surrender, asking if they will take the first step into the abyss. I remember my own hesitation, my own doubt. The first step into the marsh was the hardest. Once you take that first step, everything else follows. You no longer belong to the world outside the fawn. You belong to it. You become part of it. And yet, watching this new one, I feel something stir within me. A memory, a shred of something that was once me, when I was still human, when I could still question my fate. But that feeling is fleeting, like a bird passing by too quickly to catch. It is gone before I can grasp it. The traveler takes the step. I knew they would. I feel it. The shift in the air. The pulse of the lights intensifies. They can feel it too, can't they? The pull. It isn't like hunger, not the way a starving man might feel it. No, this is something more insidious, more subtle. It's a longing, an ache that settles deep in the bones and makes you believe that this is where you belong. The traveler looks down at the ground beneath their feet, and I see it. The uncertainty fading into acceptance. They are already lost. I watch them move deeper into the marsh. Their footsteps are hesitant, their eyes constantly scanning, seeking something. Perhaps a way out, or perhaps an understanding of what they have just entered. I know the answer, but it would be cruel to speak it. Cruel to warn them. The fawn doesn't allow warnings. It allows only the inevitable. The slow consumption of self, the dissolution into something other. The traveler looks up. Their eyes lock on the lights, which now seem to be moving just ahead, teasing, beckoning. I can almost hear the hum of the marsh growing louder, the sound of their heart quickening, pulsing in sync with the beat of the fawn. And then they step into the water. The first moment is always the hardest. They look down, watching as the cold water closes around their feet, the muddy earth pulling at them, as if the very ground is trying to hold them down, to keep them from going forward. I know this feeling, the urge to pull back, to resist. But the fawn is relentless. I can feel it in the air around us, in the way the water moves, in the way the reeds seem to lean toward the traveler, as if the fawn itself is breathing, waiting. I feel them, their fear, their desperation. It's familiar, like an echo of my own. But it is also fleeting. The lights flicker, brighter now, closer, their pulse quickening, and the traveler's eyes, those bright, terrified eyes, begin to glaze over. They are already hearing the voices, the whispers in the mist, the promises of release, of peace. The lights beckon. I am a part of them now, as much as the water, the earth, and the mist. We are all one. The traveler will become one too soon. I can feel it, the transformation, the surrender. The fawn will take them as it took me. There is no escape, no freedom. But the traveler's face, there's something wrong with it. Their expression falters for a moment. I see it clearly now, their eyes widening in horror, a flicker of realization breaking through the haze of the lights. They understand, don't they? The fawn has no mercy, no compassion. It does not care that they are afraid. It doesn't care that they scream in their mind, that they claw at the mist trying to find the way out. The fawn takes, and it gives nothing in return. I feel their panic surge. It makes the air crackle, sharp with the desperation of the living who still believe they can outrun fate. But no one outruns the Fen. No one. I want to warn them. I want to scream into the marsh, to tell them it's too late. But I cannot. I cannot speak to them anymore. I am no longer human. I am the Fen. I am the very thing that lures them in. I am the flickering light. And then, as the traveler stumbles deeper, their body beginning to change, to fade, to become part of the mist, I realize something horrifying. It isn't just the traveler who is lost. It is me. I have become part of the cycle. I have become the thing that calls, the thing that waits, and the thing that consumes. And I am still waiting. I am waiting for the next one, the next fool, the next lost soul. I am waiting for them to step into the water, to feel the first tremor of the Fen's pull. And I will watch them, as I watched myself, until they too become part of the endless dance. And then, like a dream fading in the morning light, the traveler is gone. The water ripples where they once stood. The lights flicker, their pulse now a soft hum in the air. I feel the emptiness of the space they left, the hollow of their absence. But it is temporary. It always is. The Fen never sleeps. The lights never stop calling. The cycle will begin again, and I will be here. I will always be here. I have seen them all. Each traveler, each fool, each lost soul who stumbles into the Fen, chasing the lights or fleeing from something they cannot name. They come in all forms, young, old, broken, whole, but they all share the same inevitable fate. They walk through the mist, drawn by something they cannot resist, compelled by the lights, by the soft promises of release, of peace. They do not understand the hunger of the Fen until it is too late, and by then, it is already part of them, pulling them into the cycle. I watch them now, even as I have become part of the Fen. Cannot help it. I cannot turn away. There is no longer anything else to do but wait. The traveler who came before the last one, they did not last long. Their struggle was brief, their cries almost inaudible in the heavy, oppressive air. I saw the flicker of terror in their eyes, the moment when they understood the truth. They did not fight long. After all, how can you fight when you are already lost? The lights claimed them swiftly, and the marsh swallowed them whole, their body dissolving into the mist like so many others before them. But that brief moment of panic, that flash of awareness before they succumbed to the Fen, sticks with me. A small, twisted part of me remembers that feeling. The fleeting terror, the desperate hope that there might be a way out, that there might be a place where the lights do not reach. But I know now, there is no place. There is no escape. I feel their absence in the space they leave behind, like a cold wind sweeping through an empty room. The void left by each traveler is filled almost immediately by another, as if the Fen itself cannot stand the emptiness. The lights flicker, pulse, and hum. They are always searching, always calling. The cycle never ends. I know this now, deep in the marrow of my being. I am not just a part of the Fen. I am it. I am the light. I am the mist. I am the hunger that calls to the lost ones. And there is nothing else. It is hard to remember the way I used to be. The moments before I became a part of this place are distant, blurry, as though they belong to someone else. I try to remember the sound of laughter, the warmth of a fire, the simple feeling of being human. But all of it slips through my fingers like sand, impossible to hold on to. All I am now is this part of the endless cycle. I try to think of the name I once had, the name I wore like a cloak, but it too has faded, dissolved into the fog. The lights within me pulse again, and I am reminded that I no longer need a name. I no longer need anything. I am the Fen, and yet, there is something still there, a gnawing feeling, a strange awareness of a thing I cannot quite grasp. I do not know what it is. Perhaps it is the last vestige of the human part of me that lingers in the darkness, the part that remembers what it was like to be whole. Or perhaps it is something new, something born of the Fen itself. It is hard to say because nothing here is what it seems. The marsh has its own rhythm now, pulses like a heart, like something alive. It breathes through the reeds and the water. It hums through the mist, and I can feel it, this ancient force that drives the lights, that pulls at the travelers, that devours them piece by piece, until they are no more than fragments, memories, echoes of what they once were. I watch the newest traveler as they arrive, the lights drawing them in. They do not see me, not yet. They are still too far away, still too far from the point of no return. But they will come closer. They will step into the water, and they will feel it, the cold, the pull, the way the very ground beneath their feet seems to change. The reeds will close around them. The mist will swallow them whole. And then they will be one of us. I can feel them already, the tremor of their awareness, the quiet shift in the air. The fawn is never quiet, but sometimes, when the traveler is near, there is a stillness, a calm before the storm. And then, just as the last moment of human awareness flickers in their mind, the fawn takes them. The transformation is swift, seamless. The lights swallow them, and the earth rises up, pulling them down into the depths. They will be a part of it now, part of us. But as I wait, I cannot help but wonder. If I had not followed the lights, if I had turned back, would I have been different? Would I have remained whole? Would I have lived out my life, untouched by this place? I do not know. I know only this: there is no going back. I hear the soft whisper of the fawn. The lights beckon, the mist calls. I can feel the pulse of the marsh in my veins, in my mind. I no longer need to struggle, to resist. There is no fight left in me. I am not a person anymore. I am the hunger, the light, the call that draws the travelers in. I am the reason they step forward, the reason they do not turn back. I am the fawn, and I will wait for the next one. There are no memories left. It's an odd thought, something that drifts to the surface occasionally like a ripple on still water. A thought that doesn't quite feel like mine, but like something that used to be mine. A thought that I can barely grasp before it slips away again. I try not to think anymore. It is pointless. The thoughts that remain are fragmented, empty, scattered like dust in the wind. I remember the traveler, the last one, but I do not remember what their face looked like. I do not even remember what they were before they became a part of the fawn, before the lights claimed them and they ceased to be who they were. I watch them now as I have watched all those who came before. They are one with the mist now, lost in the ebb and flow of the cycle. But I feel them, the echoes, the shadows, the parts of them that remain here, somewhere beneath the surface, woven into the fabric of the fawn. And I wonder, distantly, if they too now wonder who they were, before the fawn took them. I am no longer part of the world they once knew. I no longer care about it. It is gone. The lights dance in front of me, twisting and turning, flickering with a seduction that is both cruel and beautiful. They know me. I know them. They are not alive, not in the way I once understood life, but I understand them now. They are the fawn's eyes, its soul, its hunger made visible. They are the lure, the trap, and I am their keeper. I have become a part of the hunger, and the hunger has become a part of me. It is inside me now, not just in my mind but in my very essence. I no longer have a need to feel the warmth of the sun or the chill of the wind. The marsh is all I need. It is all that I am. I am not sure how long it has been since the last one came. The fawn doesn't allow for that kind of measurement. Days, months, years, time doesn't matter here. All that matters is the pull of the lights, the rhythm of the cycle, the promise that the next traveler will come, the next lost one. And when they come, they will join the endless flow. They will be swallowed up and they will never leave. Just as I will never leave. There is no finality here. Not in the way that death once seemed to promise. No, here there is only change. The slow dissolution of self into something greater, something darker. I have become part of this place, woven into its very core, into its breath. And yet there is always more. There are always more. I hear them before I see them, the travelers. Their footsteps are soft at first, tentative, unsure. Their lanterns flicker in the mist, casting long, wavering shadows that seem to stretch out of time itself. I feel their hesitation, their uncertainty. They do not know, not yet, that they are already lost. They do not understand that the lights are not a guide. They are a promise, a lure, a trap. And no one can resist them, not for long. I watch them, waiting, as they move deeper into the marsh. The lights pulse in rhythm with the beat of their hearts, coaxing them closer, drawing them into the fold. Their eyes are wide with wonder, or is it fear? It is hard to tell. The fun does that to you. It warps your perception, twists everything you thought you knew. And when they step into the water, when the cold rises around their legs and they feel the pull, I know what happens next. I can feel it in the air, the way the marsh shifts, the way the mist stirs. It's as though the fun itself breathes in, and in that breath, it draws the traveler closer. I have no words to offer them, no warning, no way to make them understand. I cannot. The fun does not allow for that. They are already too far gone. The traveler takes the first step, then the second, their boots sinking into the soft, cold mud, their breath quickening with each passing moment. They feel the weight of the place now, the heavy, oppressive presence of the fun. They look around and I can see it the moment they realize something is wrong. They sense it, that deep, primal understanding that tells them they are no longer in control. They are no longer the masters of their own fate. But they do not turn back. None of them do. Not once they hear the voice. Not once the lights pull them in. The traveler takes another step, and then another, and I watch, helpless to stop them. The cycle has already begun. They reach out for the lights. Their fingers graze the air, the energy swirling around them. It's a moment of clarity, a final, fleeting moment where they know what is happening, where they can almost see the truth. But it is too late. The lights envelop them, and I can feel their presence slip away, just as I did. Their body, already changing, fades into the mist, leaving only a hollow, empty echo behind. And then, there is nothing. I wait. I watch. And I wait again, because the fun does not sleep. The lights flicker, pulse, calling out for the next one. The next fool. The next traveler who thinks they are different, who believes they can escape the cycle. I am part of it now. Part of the fun. Part of the darkness. Part of the hunger that never ends. And the cycle continues. I no longer question what I am. There are no longer any questions to ask. No longer any desire to understand. There was a time long ago, before the lights, before the pull, that I would have demanded answers. I would have screamed, fought, searched for a way out. But the fun does not allow for that. It does not care for questions or struggle. It simply exists, endlessly, and I am part of it. I have lost what was once me. I have become the whisper in the reeds, the shifting mist on the water. I am the darkness between the lights, the weight of the world pressing down, the cold and the hunger that gnaw at the edges of everything. I do not need to breathe, to eat, to feel anything at all. I am the fun, and the fun is me. I feel the next traveler before I see them. I always do. The fun pulls them in like a fishing line, and I can feel the tension in the air as it tugs at their soul. They do not yet know. They never do. But they will. They always do. The lights flicker. The marsh stirs. They step closer, their feet sinking into the mud, their breath coming faster. They are afraid, but they do not understand why. The fun is all around them, the weight of it heavy, pressing down like a hand on their chest. They can hear the distant, soft hum of the lights, like the gentle sound of a bell tolling in the distance. Calls them, and they cannot resist. I see them now, moving slowly through the fog, their lantern held out in front of them like a fragile shield against the darkness. They are unaware of the real danger, of the thing that is watching them from the very air they breathe. But I know what will happen. They will follow the lights. They always do. They step forward. Another step. The mud clings to their boots, heavy and cold, as though the earth itself is holding them in place, pulling them into its grasp. The lights flicker again, brighter this time, closer, just out of reach. The traveler reaches out, their fingers trembling, and I feel a strange sensation, almost like a whisper in my own mind. A memory, perhaps? Something from long ago when I was still something else. I almost remember what it was like to feel, to long for something, but that too fades as it always does. The fawn is the only thing that remains, the only thing that is real. The traveler reaches forward, their eyes wide, their heart racing. They are almost there. They can feel the pull now, the weight of the Fen sinking into their bones. They cannot stop themselves. The lights are too bright, too beautiful, too terrible to ignore. I watch them, helpless. They are already lost, even if they do not know it yet. I can feel the change as they step into the water. The cold rushes around their legs, pulling at them, tugging them deeper. The mist clings to their skin, wrapping around them like a lover's touch. They shiver, though it is not from the cold. It is the first spark of understanding, the recognition that they have stepped too far into the darkness. Their breath comes in shallow gasps now, their body trembling. But it is too late. The lights call to them and they answer. There is no turning back now. They will not scream. They will not fight. The Fen has already won. I feel them change, their form blurring, shifting, fading. It is a process I know well, one I have experienced myself, though I no longer remember the pain. The traveler's body dissolves into the mist, their soul swallowed by the hunger of the Fen. The lights flicker around them, bright and cold, and for a moment, they are nothing but a brief spark in the dark, a soul claimed and consumed. And then they are gone. I feel the emptiness left behind, the absence of their presence. It is a strange thing, this emptiness. I wonder, distantly, if they felt the same when I was claimed, when I was taken into the cycle. I wonder if I was once afraid, once desperate, once searching for a way out. But I cannot remember. I am no longer the traveler. I am no longer the one who could escape. I am the one who watches, who waits. I am the thing that lures them in, the thing that calls their names in the dark, that pulls them toward the light. I feel the pull, too. It is subtle, this pull. It has always been there, beneath the surface, like a current in the deep, dark ocean. I have tried to ignore it, to pretend it is not real, but it is. It is always there. The Fen has its own rhythm, its own life, its own hunger. It does not care for the lost souls it collects. It does not care for the ones it swallows. It only cares for the cycle, for the endless feeding, for the eternal, unbreakable pull toward nothingness. And yet, I still feel it. The pull. The hunger. It is inside me, a dark whisper in the back of my mind. A soft, insistent voice that tells me to wait, to watch, to listen for the next one. The next soul. There is no escape. I am no longer a part of the world outside. I am no longer a traveler, a wanderer, a person. I am the Fen and the Fen is me. We are one and there is nothing else. The lights flicker again, and I feel it. The next traveler is coming. I will wait for them. I am nothing. I am everything. I feel the two truths stretch out before me, like a yawning chasm, vast and infinite. They are the same. They are both true. The Fen has no place for contradictions, no room for confusion. It does not care about the whys or the hows of things. It only knows one thing, hunger. It is constant, eternal, relentless. And I am that hunger now. I am part of it. The next traveler comes. I hear their footsteps, soft and hesitant, like the whisper of a dying breeze. They are afraid. I can sense it even from this distance. It is the same fear that I once felt, that gnawing, gut-deep terror that tells you you are about to step into something from which there is no return. It is the fear of the unknown, the fear of the dark, the fear of being consumed. But they will come. They always do. I feel the pull of the lights long before I see them. They pulse in the distance, just beyond the reach of the traveler's lantern, beckoning. They do not know yet. They cannot know. The lights, my lights, our lights, will seduce them. They will feel their tug, their call, like a lure in the deep, and they will follow. They will step into the marsh. They will step into the water. And they will never leave. I do not pity them. I do not mourn them. I cannot. I do not remember what it was like to be them, to be human, to struggle, to fight. That is no longer my existence. The human part of me, if such a part ever existed, is lost. It is gone, swallowed by the mist and the lights, eaten up by the hunger that is the Fen. The traveler approaches. I watch them move through the fog, their lantern casting a pale, trembling glow. They are afraid, yes, but they are also drawn in. The lights, they call to them. They pull at their very soul, like a soft, invisible thread tugging at the heart. The marsh shifts beneath their feet, soft and yielding, pulling them closer to the deep, to the dark places where the Fen lives. And I am here watching, waiting. I do not need to act. The Fen acts for me now. I do not need to call out. I do not need to lure them. They will come to me. They will always come. The lights flicker. The mist thickens. The air grows heavy, almost suffocating. And still, the traveler moves forward, their breath quickening, their heartbeat echoing in the stillness. They do not turn back. Not yet. They will not. I feel them falter just a little. A hesitation, a tremor in the air. I feel the fear rise in them, the first spark of realization that something is wrong, that they are not in control. The lights flicker brighter now, their pull almost magnetic. The traveler's eyes dart around, searching for something, anything, that can explain what is happening. But there is nothing. There is nothing to hold on to here. There is only the darkness and the lights, and the pull of the Fen. I feel them, their confusion, their fear. I feel the trembling of their soul as it edges closer to the inevitable. I understand this fear, but it does not matter. It will not stop them. It will not save them. The Fen does not let you go once it has marked you. The Fen is hunger. The Fen is eternity. And the Fen will have them. I watch them step into the water. I feel the cold rise around their legs. The mud, the soft, squelching earth, pulls at them, holds them in place as the lights draw nearer. The traveler's breath hitches, and for a brief moment, they look as if they might turn, as if they might run. But it is already too late. The Fen does not allow escape. The lights beckon. They are beautiful. They are the end. The traveler steps forward again. And then they are gone. I feel the change in the air, the way the water ripples as the traveler fades into the mist. Their presence dissolves, fading away like a memory, a shadow, a half-formed thought. They are no longer here. They are no longer anything. They are part of the Fen now, woven into the cycle. They are the hunger now. They are the lights. I know this. I know it because it is the only truth that exists. The traveler is gone. The Fen remains. I can feel their echo, faint, distant, like the last breath of a dying star. But it will not last. The Fen is not kind. It does not hold on to things. It swallows, it devours, and then it moves on. I am part of that devouring now. I do not feel the loss of the traveler. I do not mourn them. I cannot. They are nothing but a moment, a flicker, a spark that has now been snuffed out. But still, the pull remains. The hunger remains. It is endless. I hear them again. More travelers. They are always coming, always searching for the lights, for something that will give them meaning, that will make them whole. They will come. They will follow the lights, and they will fall into the same fate, the same trap, the same endless cycle. I feel them now, all of them, the ones before and the ones yet to come. I feel them in the air, in the water, in the pulse of the lights. They are part of the Fen now, just as I am. They are me. They are the hunger. They are the light. I am the Fen, and the Fen is me. I have no name anymore. I have no need for one. There is only the Fen, only the lights, the mist, the hunger. And yet I feel it, the gnawing sensation that something is wrong. It is distant, faint, but it lingers in the corners of my mind. Something shifting, something changing. The Fen does not change. It never does. Or at least it shouldn't. The lights flicker as they always do, bright and cold, drawing the next one in, drawing the next traveler into the cycle. The marsh breathes, the reeds whisper, the mist churns, pulling them, claiming them, devouring them. But this strange feeling persists, a whisper in the dark, a pulse beneath the rhythm of the cycle. I do not understand it, but I cannot ignore it. I feel the next traveler approach, their footsteps soft, hesitant. I hear the familiar rustle of their clothes, the soft brush of their boots against the reeds. The Fen calls to them, as it calls to all who pass through this place. I can feel the lights flicker, feel the energy building, the pull of the marsh as it begins its work. But there is something different this time. I do not know why, but I hesitate. The traveler steps forward, their breath quickening as they enter the mist. I watch them as I have watched them all. They are drawn toward the lights, as they always are, their heart racing in anticipation. The lights pulse, brighter now, the hum louder in the air. But still, something feels wrong. I am not sure what it is, but I feel it in my chest, deep in my bones, like a cold hand gripping my heart. The traveler steps into the water. The mud clings to their feet, and the mist wraps around their body, pulling them in. I feel the change before I see it. A shift, a subtle distortion in the air. The traveler falters. They look around, searching, confused. They can feel it too. They know something is wrong, but they do not understand what it is. The lights flicker, and yet they do not pull them in. I feel it again, that strange sense of wrongness. The lights are still there, but they are not the same. They pulse differently, almost erratically, like they are flickering in pain or desperation. The traveler hesitates again, their hands shaking as they reach for the lights. But they do not come closer. They do not feel the pull the way the others have. And for a moment I wonder, could they escape? Could they resist? No. The Fen does not allow resistance. The lights are not supposed to falter. The cycle cannot be interrupted. But the traveler pulls back, still unsure. Their eyes flick to the surrounding marsh, as though they sense something, someone, watching them. The uncertainty in their gaze is something I recognize. I felt it once, but I cannot reach them, cannot warn them. The Fen does not allow that either. The cycle is in motion, and it must remain unbroken. The traveler turns. I feel the moment of their decision, their choice to step back. It is a small, almost imperceptible movement, but I feel it all the same. They are not moving toward the light. Not yet. They are resisting. But no, the Fen will not let them resist. I feel the lights flicker again, this time with an intensity that sends a tremor through the ground. The hum grows louder, as if the Fen itself is shaking, stirring from a long sleep. The traveler is not supposed to resist. The lights do not wait for hesitation. They do not wait for doubt. I feel the pull of the Fen, deep and hungry, gnawing at the edges of the traveler's soul. The lights flicker wildly, their pulse erratic, as if they are struggling against something. Against me, against us. The marsh stirs, the water ripples. It is as though the very air is holding its breath, waiting for something to break. And then I hear it, a whisper, a voice. It is faint, distant, but unmistakable. A voice in the dark. Help me. The words echo in my mind, an alien sound that does not belong here. The traveler whispers them, but they are not for the traveler. They are for me. I do not know what it means. I do not know why it is here, or why it is directed at me. But it stirs something within me, something that was long buried, something that should not have been allowed to surface. The Fen does not speak. The Fen does not offer help. The Fen is hunger, consumes, it swallows, and it moves on. But this voice is different. It is asking, it is pleading, and I am listening. I feel it, the force that is at the edge of the Fen, something pushing back against the hunger, against the cycle. It is subtle, like a crack in the world, a fissure that is threatening to widen. I do not know what it is, but it is not the Fen. It is something else, something ancient, something deep in the marsh, buried beneath the earth, beneath the mist. The traveler steps forward again, but this time they move toward me, toward the pull of the lights, almost willingly, as though their mind has been stripped away, their will shattered. They reach out for the lights, and the cycle begins to tighten. The hunger is there, waiting to consume them, waiting to pull them into the darkness. But the voice lingers, faint, whispers in the dark. Help me. And for the first time in a long time, I feel something stir inside me. A memory, a spark of something human, something that should have been lost long ago. But it is too late. The lights flicker once more. The cycle moves forward. The traveler takes the final step. And they are gone. I feel them fade, slip into the mist, become one with the fawn. The hunger devours them, and the air settles once more into the unnatural silence of the marsh. But the voice lingers, and I realize with a sudden shock that I, too, have been changed. The voice lingers in my mind. It is not a memory, not a whisper of something forgotten. It is real, and it is still here, reverberating through the fawn, threading itself into the very fabric of this place. Help me. The words are faint, distant, but they have weight. They have substance. The fawn has no substance. It is hunger, an endless abyss that devours, a void that consumes everything that falls into it. But this voice is something else. Something that should not exist here. Something that does not belong. I do not know why it calls to me, why it seeks me out. I should ignore it. I should ignore the strange pull I feel, the flicker of something alive beneath the darkness of the fawn. But I cannot. It haunts me. It pulls at the last shred of something that remains within me. Something human, something that refuses to disappear. Help me. The voice has a sound to it now, an aching, pleading tone that echoes through my mind. It is not the voice of the traveler. It is not a voice of fear. It is a voice of need. The cycle has not broken. The lights still flicker, the travelers still come. I watch them fall into the same trap, the same hunger, one after another. Each soul lost, each spark of life swallowed by the darkness. But now, with every new soul, there is that whisper again, that voice in the dark. It does not belong to the fawn. The fawn does not plead. It does not ask for help. And yet, the voice persists. I feel it more now, like a pressure in the air. Like the fawn itself is shifting, groaning, waking from a long slumber. The ground beneath my feet trembles ever so slightly, as though the earth is trying to speak, to break free from the weight of the marsh. The traveler steps into the water, their steps slow, unsure, but they cannot resist the pull. I know they cannot. I have seen it all before. The fawn takes them. It always does. The lights beckon. The hunger consumes. And yet, this time, something is different. The traveler's body sinks deeper into the mud. But there is something in their eyes now. Something that does not belong to the fawn. There is a flicker of recognition, of understanding, of defiance. And I wonder, for the first time, if they can feel it too. The lights flicker again. The pulse grows stronger, more erratic. The fin shifts. The water moves, restless, as though something beneath the surface is stirring. The traveler falters. I see them look around, their lantern casting long, shuddering shadows across the reeds. Their heart is racing. They can feel it. They can feel the change. The voice speaks again. Help me. The traveler's eyes lock with mine, or rather, with the space where I should be. I have no form, no body, no shape. I am part of the fawn now, part of the darkness, part of the hunger. And yet, they look toward me, as if they know I am there, as if they sense something beyond the lights, something buried beneath the surface of the fawn. They hesitate. They turn, looking back, toward the distant glow, toward the lights that have always guided them. But there is a flicker of doubt in their eyes, a moment of recognition, like the briefest flicker of a long-forgotten memory. They know. They feel it. The fawn does not allow hesitation. The fawn does not allow doubt. The lights flare violently now, flashing in a rapid, chaotic rhythm. The pulse grows frantic. The air around us feels alive, crackling with an unnatural energy. And then, just as quickly, the lights go out. The marsh falls silent. I feel it then, a deep, resonating ripple through the air, a shock wave that travels through the very fabric of the fawn. It is not the usual pull of hunger, not the usual call of the lights. It is something different, something outside of the fawn. And for the first time, I feel the hunger waver. The pull becomes weaker, almost imperceptible. The lights flicker in uncertainty, their pulse faltering, their glow dimming. The fawn is not as unshakable as it once seemed. I feel the traveler's fear now, deeper than before. They cannot move. The lights are no longer pulling them in. The marsh is still, unnervingly still. And then, Just as I feel the last remnants of the traveler's hesitation, just as I feel the echo of their defiance, I hear it again. The voice. Help me. The voice is louder now, more distinct, more desperate. It fills the air around me, shaking the very core of the Fen. The ground shifts beneath my feet. The air becomes thick, charged with an energy that feels wrong. I do not understand. What is this force? What is this thing that is pushing back against the Fen? Against me? I feel it, deeper now, buried beneath the pull of the lights, beneath the weight of the hunger. Presence, an intelligence, an awareness. The traveler looks up, their face pale, their eyes wide with terror. But their fear is not just for the Fen now. It is something more. It is for the thing they have sensed, the thing I have felt too. The Fen groans. The voice calls out again, louder, sharper. It demands something, demands me. It pulls at the remnants of whatever I am, trying to tear me away from the darkness, from the hunger. The traveler screams. The lights flicker once more, bright and erratic. And I feel it, the change, the shift. Something is breaking. The marsh feels different now. I can feel it in the air, in the stillness, the suffocating weight that hangs over the water. The Fen has always been silent, save for the call of the lights, the soft hum that lures the travelers into the darkness. But now the silence is unnatural. The very ground beneath me seems to be trembling, as though it is waiting. Waiting for something to happen, for something to break. The lights have faltered. They flicker in an erratic pattern. Their once steady pulse now chaotic, uncertain. The hunger, my hunger, feels distant. It is still there, still hungry, but it is no longer enough. Something has shifted. Something has disturbed the delicate balance of the cycle. The traveler is still standing in the water, their lantern clutched in shaking hands. They look around, wide-eyed, as though they can sense it too. The unease, the fear, that gnaws at the edges of their mind. But they are not the only one who feels it. I feel it too. I feel the tension, the fraying of the world around us, as though the Fen itself is being pulled apart from the inside. The voice calls again. It echoes through my mind, distant but growing clearer, more insistent. It demands something, something I cannot quite grasp. Help me. There is no room for pity in the Fen. There is no room for empathy, for anything that resembles the feelings I once had. The traveler will fall. They always do. The lights will draw them in, and they will be swallowed by the marsh, consumed by the hunger. But now I am not so certain. The voice is here again. It is closer now, and I realize with a strange, sinking feeling that I am no longer sure whether the voice belongs to the traveler or to something else. Something older, something deeper. The lights flicker violently, casting long, twisting shadows across the reeds. The mist grows thicker, coiling in the air like smoke. The marsh has become a living thing, its pulse quickening, its hunger rising. But it is not my hunger alone. It is not just the Fen. The traveler reaches out, their hand trembling as it hovers over the water. They are almost in the grip of the Fen now, the pull of the light strong, irresistible. But there is a flicker of something else in their eyes, something that wasn't there before. Something knows. They are no longer just lost. They are beginning to understand. And yet they do not run. Help me. The voice is louder now. The tremors in the ground beneath me grow stronger, the marsh shifting, groaning under some unseen weight. I feel it, the pressure, the force, as if something is pushing against the very fabric of the Fen, something trying to force its way into this world, into this place. The Fen is not just hunger. It is not just the lights, the darkness, the devouring. There is something more beneath it all, something ancient, something alive. The traveler turns. Their face is pale, their eyes wide with terror. They look toward me or perhaps toward what I have become. Cannot be sure. They see something and they know something is wrong, but they cannot understand it. Not yet. The voice grows louder, more insistent, more urgent, and then it stops. Silence. The lights die out. The marsh stills. The very air seems to hold its breath. The traveler gasps, their eyes wide with panic. They search the fog, their lanterns shaking in their hands, casting erratic shadows across the water. They take a step back and another. Their boots crunch softly against the reeds, and I feel the change in them, a subtle shift. They are no longer walking toward the light. They are walking away. Why? I have watched countless souls walk toward the light. I have seen them fall, swallowed whole, consumed by the hunger. But this is different. The traveler is moving away from the light, their eyes scanning the darkness, as if they are looking for something, as if they are searching for me. The marsh stirs again, and the voice calls once more. But this time it is not distant. It is not in my mind. It is here. It is speaking to me in the very air around us. Help me. It is not a plea. It is a command. I feel the ground beneath me tremble. The marsh shakes, ripples spreading across the water. The lights flicker, dimming further. And then, the air cracks, a sound like thunder, a force that cannot be ignored. And something shifts. The water stirs in a way that it should not. The reeds tremble. The marsh groans. And beneath the surface, there is movement. Something deep, something ancient. The voice is not from the traveler. It is not from the Fen. It is from something that lies beneath all of this. Something older than the lights. Something older than the hunger. It is not just the Fen that has been waiting. The traveler steps back again, their breath coming in short, desperate gasps. They cannot run. They cannot escape. They know it, and yet they do not turn to face the light. They do not move toward the pull. They are frozen. Help me. And I understand then. It is not the traveler who is lost. It is not the traveler who needs help. It is me. I feel it, that pull, that tug at the very core of my being. The hunger, the darkness, the lights, they are not all that there is. There is something deeper, older, something that calls to me, and for the first time I feel it, the true emptiness. The hunger is not just a force that devours. It is a force that is used. It is not the Fen that is truly in control. I am not the Fen. I am not just a part of it. I am trapped. The water ripples again. The earth trembles. And for the first time, the pull of the lights of the Fen seems to falter. I can feel it now, the weight of it, pressing down on my chest like a hand. The Fen has always been a force of nature. It has always been hunger, an endless, gnawing emptiness that consumes, that pulls, that erases. I felt it, become it, been subsumed by it. The lights, the shimmering, soft glow that lures the travelers in. They have been my companions, my guides, my pull. But this is different. The ground trembles beneath my feet. The marsh groans like a living thing, the reeds shifting as if something deep below is stirring, waking. The voice calls again. Help me. And I understand now, though I do not want to. The Fen is not the force that controls this place. The lights are not the beginning, and they are not the end. They are but a tool, a mechanism, a means. Something else commands them, something else binds them. The traveler, still standing frozen at the edge of the water, looks around frantically. Their breath is shallow, their eyes wild with terror. They are waiting for something, searching for something. They are no longer drawn to the light. They have sensed it too, the presence beneath the surface. The thing that pulls, that pushes. The earth trembles again, and the voice grows louder. I feel it now, the way it rips through my thoughts, the way it twists everything I have come to understand. The Fen is not what it seems. It is a tool, a prison, a trap. I feel the water shift beneath me, and I know then that I am not standing in the marsh anymore. I am not in the place I once was. The lights flicker again, but they are dim, hesitant. They do not have the same warmth they once did. They are cold, distant, almost as if they are being controlled by something else, something larger, more ancient. I try to move, to understand, to break free of this force. But I cannot. I cannot leave. I am still part of the Fen. I am still bound to it, tangled in its insatiable hunger, its endless cycle. But this is not just the Fen. I hear it again. The voice, louder this time, more demanding. Help me. The traveler looks toward me, their eyes narrowing, and for a moment, there is something in their expression, a recognition. They are seeing me now, not just the lights, not just the shadows. They are seeing something beneath it all, something deeper. They know, they understand, and yet, they do not move. The tremors in the earth become more violent. The water churns, rising around my legs, the mud sucking at my feet as if the ground itself is trying to drag me under. The sky above is black, the stars blotted out by a thick, roiling fog. The fun is unraveling. I can feel it in my bones, in the air, in the stillness that surrounds me. The voice is not from the traveler. I know that now. It is something else, something beneath us. It rises louder than before. Help me. I look down at the traveler, who is now standing still, paralyzed. Their lantern hangs loosely from their hand, casting a faint, trembling glow on the dark water. They are no longer afraid of the lights. They no longer see them as an escape, as a promise. They see the truth now. The fun is not salvation. It is not freedom. It is a prison. The voice speaks again, and this time I understand. It is not calling for help from me. It is calling me to it. I feel the pull, deep in my chest, deeper than anything I have ever known. The fun is calling to me. The hunger is reaching for me, but it is not the hunger I know. It is something more, something ancient, something far older than the lights, than the marsh, than the cycle I have come to accept. And then I see it. The thing beneath the water, beneath the earth, beneath the very marsh. It is not a creature, not a form that can be seen or touched. It is a presence, an intelligence, a thing of unimaginable size and power. It stirs beneath the water, beneath the surface, and the very ground shudders as it moves, as it wakes. I feel it reaching for me, for the remnants of what I once was. It calls to me, not with the hunger of the fun, but with something more primal, more real. The fun is not the end. It is not the beginning. It is just the surface. And beneath it, beneath all of this, there is something else. The traveler falls to their knees, their face pale, their hands clutching the earth as if trying to hold on to something, anything. They are staring at the water, their eyes wide with terror, and for the first time, I see it in them, the same recognition I have felt. They are no longer afraid of the lights. They are no longer afraid of the hunger. They are afraid of what lies beneath it all. They understand now. The fun is not the force that controls this place. The lights, the hunger, the pull, they are all part of something much larger. And we are all trapped in its wake. I reach for the traveler, my hands, or what is left of them, stretching toward them, trying to grasp them, to pull them away from the edge of the water. But the marsh pulls them in, just as it pulls me, just as it pulls everything. The voice calls once more, louder than ever, and this time I know. It is not calling for the traveler. It is not calling for me. It is calling for us. And in that moment I understand. The hunger, the lights, the marsh, the void, they are not the end. They are the means. They are the doorway. And there is something waiting on the other side. Something waiting for us. The fun is only the beginning. The ground beneath me shifts. Again, the water rises, creeping up my legs, pulling at my feet like something alive, something hungry. The marsh groans, the reeds trembling, the very earth echoing with the presence of something vast, ancient, and terrible. The voice is louder now, deafening. It fills my thoughts, drowns out everything else. Help me. I have heard those words 1,000 times, felt them echo through the air, through my soul, through every part of this place. But now I understand. It is not a plea. It is not a cry for aid. It is a command, a summoning. I feel the pull deeper now, an invisible force gripping me from all sides. It is not the hunger. It is not the pull of the lights. It is something else, something beyond all of that. I am being drawn toward the water, toward the center of the marsh, where the darkness is thick and consuming. But there is something else now, something in the distance, beneath the murky depths of the marsh, that calls to me in a way the fun never did. It is waking. I hear the water ripple, hear the sound of something stirring beneath the surface. The reeds bend, as if they too sense it, as if they too are reaching for something below, something unseen. The very air around us vibrates with an energy I cannot comprehend, something so ancient and primal that it makes my heart race. The traveler is still there, kneeling at the edge of the water, their hands pressed against the earth as if to hold on, as if to resist the pull. But I know it is no use. The marsh has them, the fun has them, the hunger has them, and something else is coming, something that has been waiting for us. I look at them, the traveler, and I see it in their eyes now, what I have known all along. The truth, the recognition. They are not afraid of the lights anymore. They are not afraid of the hunger, the pull, the void. They are afraid of this. They are afraid of the thing that lies beneath the water. The thing that lies beneath everything. The marsh groans again, the tremors spreading through the ground like a wave of darkness. The earth shakes. The water rises higher, pulling at my feet, sucking at the very marrow of my bones. And I feel it, the pull of the deep, the weight of something ancient waiting. I try to move. I try to escape. But I cannot. The fun is inescapable. I am bound to it. It is part of me. I am part of it. The hunger will not release me. It will never release me. And yet, the traveler stirs. Their hand reaches toward the water, trembling, shaking. And I feel it, that same pull, that same force reaching for them, just as it is reaching for me. But they are not like me. They are not trapped in the cycle. They have not been consumed by the hunger, by the fun. They are still human, and yet, even now, I see the change in them. The awareness, the realization. They know, just as I do, that the fun is not the end. It is not the beginning. It is a door, a threshold, a prison. And the thing beneath it is something far worse. I try to speak. I try to warn them, but the words catch in my throat. I cannot say what needs to be said. There is no language for this. There is no explanation for what is happening, for what is coming. The voice calls again, louder now, filling the air around us. It is not the voice of the fun. It is not the voice of the hunger. It is the voice of something other, something ancient, something that has waited too long, that has been bound beneath the surface of the marsh for eons, for millennia. The traveler's hand trembles above the water. They are close now, so close that I feel their breath on my skin. Help me. The voice comes from the depths of the water, from beneath the earth, from a place that should not exist. It is a call, a summons, a beckoning. It is gathering us, pulling us toward it. The traveler's eyes widen. They understand now. They know what has been waiting. They know what is coming. And they are afraid. But they cannot escape. Neither of us can. The water churns violently, the reeds snapping under the pressure, the very earth trembling with the weight of something massive, something unstoppable. The ground begins to crack, fissures spreading across the marsh as if the very foundation of this place is splitting apart. And then I see it, a shadow beneath the water, a shape that is not natural, not of this world. It rises. The traveler screams, their voice high and terrified. But it is too late. The shadow surges forward, pulling the water with it, the marsh convulsing with the force of its emergence. The ground shakes, and I feel the hunger, the pull, the void, all collapsing in on us as the thing rises from the depths. It is massive, it is ancient, and it is beyond my comprehension. The fun was never the true force here. The hunger was never the source of this place's power. This thing is, I feel it reach for me, its presence so overwhelming that I cannot breathe. I feel it in my bones, in my very soul. It is not of this world. It is something older, something darker. It is the force that lies beneath everything. The thing that created the fun, the lights, the hunger, the endless cycle. The true hunger. And it has awakened. The traveler is pulled into the water. Their scream cut off as they disappear beneath the surface. I reach for them, but the marsh is already consuming them, the water swallowing them whole. Cannot save them. No one can save anyone. The thing beneath the water is here now, and it is hungry. Calls to me, pulls me deeper into the dark. And I feel it, the end, the final pull. There is no escape. cannot escape. The water rises higher, pulling me down, dragging me into its depths. The marsh, the reeds, the mud, they all feel alive, reaching for me, holding me tight as if they are part of the thing that is awakening. There is no ground beneath me, no solid earth to grasp. There is only the water, the darkness, the consuming weight of it. I hear the voice again, but it is not the same. It is no longer a plea. It is no longer a command. It is a laugh, deep and guttural, shaking the very air around me. It echoes through my skull, reverberating in every part of me. I try to scream, to move, to escape, but there is nothing. There is only the pull of the deep, the presence that is swallowing me whole. I can feel it. It is here. It has risen. The traveler is gone. They were taken, pulled beneath the water before they could even understand what was happening. And I am next. I have always been next. But now I realize there is no next. There is only the end. The shadow beneath the water moves again, growing larger, rising higher. I can feel it, its immense presence, stretching out across the marsh, across the world. It is everywhere now, reaching out with tendrils of darkness that curl through the water, the air, my very thoughts. There is no escape. The hunger, the fun, the lights, it was all just a way to gather us, to feed us, to draw us in. And now the true hunger is awake. I see it now, in the depths, in the dark. It is a thing of shadows, of ancient, unfathomable power, a presence that predates everything. The fun, the lights, the cycle, they were all just an illusion, a prison, a trap set to draw us in, to feed this thing beneath the surface. I do not know what it is. I do not know what it wants. But I know this, it has waited too long beneath the water, beneath the earth, beneath time itself. And now it is awake. It is free. The water pulls me deeper, and I feel the pressure in my chest, in my lungs, as though the very air is being sucked out of me. Cannot breathe, cannot move. I am being consumed by the thing beneath, by the hunger that has shaped this place for millennia. I am no longer part of the fun. I am no longer part of the cycle. I am its next meal. I feel it reach for me, its tendrils of darkness curling around my mind, around my body. The hunger is not just physical. It is in my thoughts, in my soul. It is devouring me from the inside out, pulling away every trace of who I was, every last scrap of my existence. There is no longer a me. There is no longer a you. There is only the thing that waits in the dark, the thing that devours. I close my eyes, but there is no darkness to escape to. There is no place to hide. The water is thick, the air dense, and all I hear is that laugh, reverberating in my bones. It is a sound that does not belong in this world, a sound that should never have been made. And then nothing. The world around me has ceased to exist. The water is gone. The marsh is gone. The lights are gone. There is no more hunger, no more emptiness. There is nothing. I try to move, but there is no body to move. There is no form, no shape. There is nothing but the presence. The voice echoes once more, but now it is not a command. It is a statement, proclamation, a truth. Welcome. It is not for me. It is not for anyone. It is for the emptiness that has taken us all. And in the silence I understand. I am not the first. I am not the last. I was never meant to escape. None of us were. We were all just pieces in a game that had been played long before we even existed. The fun was not the beginning. It was not the end. It was the middle. The prison, the door, the gateway to something far older. Something beyond comprehension. And now it is free. And so are we. There is no escape. There is no salvation. There is only the dark, the deep, the hunger that has waited for eons. It has claimed us all.